Hey, y'all, this is Scott Brandon with Texas Music Network. Welcome to Live from the Ice House. Today I got Mr. Jamie Richards with us, and we're going to talk to him about his new album and his #1 hit that he just released a few weeks ago. Actually, I guess it's been a couple months ago. But before we get into that, I wanted to let you know what was going on with Texas Music Network this week. Thursday night, we have open mic night at Love and War in Plano. Our hosts this week are Mary Ellen Lawler and our Keith Cleet Bradley. So that's going to be a great show. It starts at 8 p.m. If you can join us in person, please do. If you can't make it in person, you're welcome to watch it here on Facebook Live. So you've probably heard that we had to postpone our Valentine's Day concert. COVID gets yet another event, I guess. But when we announced the postponement, Rebecca at Silver Saddle Saloon in Granbury sent us a message and said, hey, would you mind if I did something similar since you're not doing yours? And so she's going to hold an event for us. It's going to be very similar, be a little bit smaller lineup. It'll be down at her venue. It's benefiting the same cause and benefiting the same charity. So stick back with us, and we'll probably do a pop-up podcast later on this week and let Rebecca tell us a little bit about what all that show is going to entail. But I'm extremely happy to have Jamie Richards with us today. Jamie just dropped a new CD. It's doing really, really well. His last single, Whiskey's Working Well, went to #1 a couple of weeks ago, and that's not his first #1 hit by any means. But let me bring Jamie online with us. Jamie, are you there?
There I am. How you doing?
I'm great, man. Thanks for being with us.
You're very welcome. Glad to be here.
So your last hit went to #1. That's not the first #1 hit you've had by any means. But tell us a little bit about that song.
Well, Whiskey Working Well is on my new album, and it was out last year. It actually did go to #1 last year, but the last song, called I Want To With You, is my current #1, which went #1 about 3 weeks ago, I guess, for a week. And it's also on the new album. So it's already got a couple of #1 records on it. Songs on it, which pretty excited about that. But yeah, I'm proud of this album. This is my 7th album, and it's a full 12-song album. And, I cut it in Fort Worth and there with Bart Rose, and had Ben McPherson sang harmony on it, and Jackie Darlene sang harmony on it. I had sang a little bit of harmony myself, and had my band played all my band played on it, plus one other guy named Milo Deering, and Milo Deering is well known by a lot of people. You probably know exactly who he is. He's a phenomenal musician. I've never seen anything like him. Actually, I lived in Nashville for a long time, and I've never seen anyone that could play anything you hand him to that level. It's just unbelievable. Watch him.
Yeah, well, it's nice to actually have your band in the studio rather than working with studio musicians, isn't it?
It is. I've cut every album I've had in Texas. I've used my band on pretty much. I may bring in a fiddle player, or and Ben McPherson does play fiddle for me sometimes too. But I do bring in through the years, I brought in a guitar picker, somebody once in a while, or a steel player. But I love having my bass player, my guitar player, drummer there with me every time, and they're great players. They can stand up to anybody. So I feel very confident in using them on the record.
Yeah, and it works out well for your fans because they're getting something very similar to what they hear on the CD anyway, right?
That's true. I'd love to have Milo Deering playing with me full time. He was with the Eagles the last few years, so it's a huge feather in anybody's hat that gets to use that man.
Yeah, you had some Tommy Albertson sang on one of your songs, and you had some pretty good help on that record too, didn't you?
Yeah, Tommy Albertson and I actually co-wrote that song together. He and I went to Mexico on a trip a couple of years back, and I told him I had that idea. Great minds drink alike was a silly idea, just kind of fun, but he liked it. So we worked on it a little bit one time, and then we got back together right before we did a show in Fort Worth and together and worked on it about an hour and pretty much finished it. And it came off really well in the studio. You know, you can have a song that you feel maybe not as strongly about, but when you get to studio with it, it just rises to the top for some reason. You know, it just worked. And that song was one of those. I love the song, but man, after we got through recording it, I'm like, wow, that come out so well. You know.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite songs on that
Yeah.
CD.
Well, I've
So.
got a lot from people that just tell me about that album. That's like Great Minds Drink Alike. I'd say has to be the top pick right now of anything on the record.
Yeah. So 2 songs already hit #1. What's your next single that you're going to push out?
You know, I haven't really talked to Rick Hogan's my radio guy out of Nashville, but I haven't talked to him anymore in a couple months about. I sent him the album. I'm gonna, you know, he's been picking my singles, and I've had, you know, it's been unbelievable my run with him. He's so good at what he does. I've had 8 singles with him, 7 of which hit #1. You know, and before him I had 1 #1 for all those years. So he just really is great at what he does. You know, and you know everybody knows that you got to get the right combination of people behind you to really push you in the business to help you, you know, to get to the point you'd like to be. And he definitely has helped me. And it's just you know, I'm kind of a one-man show, and he is too, you know, but he just knows what he's doing, you know, and it really helps to have someone in your corner that's not worried about anybody else. They're worried about you. So they help you, you know, and that's pretty important.
Absolutely. So, Casper actually came up with this idea. I know you and Casper are buddies. But so we created this segment called Tales from the Road. And so we tried to get all the artists to give us a little bit of an insight and funny stories about things that might have happened on the road. Do you have anything you can share with us on?
Yeah, I do. I have an old Silver Eagle tour bus. I've still got it out here, and I've tried to get Casper to buy it too, but he's interested. He ain't pulled the trigger on it. But it's a 1973 Eagle bus, so we traveled in it a long time. It's out here in my front yard now, back to the side of the house, but hadn't been moved in a couple of years. But anyway, I used to drive that bus a lot because the brakes weren't very good on it, and I didn't, you know, we didn't want to spend all that money on there's a lot of brake work on a bus, believe me.
Oh yeah.
And but I did get some. Oh yeah, I mean, there's, you know, every bus has got so much going on. You know, I was always told, you know, you buy a new bus or no bus, get your wallet out because it's gonna cost you. And I believe that. I felt it. So anyway, I took the bus down to Del Rio, and that's a long ways from Central Oklahoma. And we played a venue down there across the border, the old Corona Club. And we stayed in Del Rio. It was hot, I remember. And the AC wasn't too good on the old bus either. But we stopped somewhere. Actually, I remember now. We stopped at I think up toward LaGrange, actually. And I rented a hotel room so the band and I was just wore out. I said, I'm going to go in there and take a nap. It was the middle of the day. And I remember I went in there and I took a nap and heard a knock on the door. And it was my cousin, Robert Richards, who was driving my bus at the time. And he said that the door fell off. And I thought, well, the door didn't talk about the hotel room door. He's talking about the bus door fell off. So he was out there. He opened it up and they're heavy, you know, and the hinge broke and here we go. So we took the door and because there, you know, it was an old bus. You couldn't have found another door for it. It would have cost you an arm and a leg. And we threw the bus door in the aisle, and I took off driving. So we looked like a UPS truck for about 3 days. We had another show to go to, and I can just remember it being so hot, and we had no air, didn't have no bus no door on the bus, and it felt like I remember I was sitting in my boxer shorts in the middle of the night driving that bus with no door on it. You know, it's just crazy time.
That's funny.
That's just pours what that's from being.
Yes, sir. So where are you at this week? You playing out?
I am playing just one show. I mean, like this year, Valentine's Day show I'm doing there in Ennis, Texas at Ruston Cattle Company. And it's just a dinner and I'm going to do a little acoustic. And that's all I'm doing this week. But it is picking up after this week. I have several shows, booked some good shows booked, like Outlaws and Legends. I got one in Wichita Falls called Boomer. Oh, it's gonna kill me. I can't look it up on my phone. Anyway, it's in Burke Burnett. It's Friday, I think, March the 19th. Shootout, Boomer Shootout, something like that. But it's a barbecue cook-off, ribeye, chili cook-off. I'm playing it Friday night with a couple of bands playing before me. I think Randall King's is headlining it Saturday night, and then we're going down to Outlaws and Legends on the 20th, along with Kevin Costner's playing that show now, which is I think is cool. Willie was on it, but he chose not to do it again this year, which I totally understand that 100%. But it's going to be a great show. I've got some good stuff coming up, and very excited about it.
Well, that sounds very great. We'll have to catch you down the road somewhere. Thank you so much for being with us.
You got it, buddy. Anytime. It's always a pleasure to get to see you.
Well, thank you, Jamie. Talk to you soon.
All right.
So I thought with you a story that I had, kind of my tale from the road. It's not nearly as entertaining as some of the other guys, but it was fun. It's been a couple of years ago, and Kelly McGuire was doing a show at the Foundation Room here in Dallas. I went through it. He suddenly stopped in the middle of the song and just couldn't get the lyrics to his own song. And so that song on their iPhone did it to him. And so he did the song, finished it, and as always, finished the entire set and flawless, no more problems. But anyway, I thought it might be funny to create a lyric book with all of his lyrics and next time. So I did, and I put them in extra large print. I titled it something like, so fast forward to this morning. I get up this morning, I get a text message from Kelly that says, "Hey, I want to thank you for doing that lyric book for me. I really appreciate it." And I'm like, wow, where'd that come from? That was years ago that I gave this to him. The text message, and as soon as I did, the phone rang, and he goes, "Scott, I got to tell you this story." He goes, because of COVID, I haven't played any shows since October. He goes, so I left Friday on a Florida run, drive 18 hours, get down, unload all the gear, getting ready to show. And he goes, I pick up my guitar and my mind just goes blank. I can't remember any of my lyrics. Song it. And so he goes, I remembered I stuck your lyric book in my van. So I ran out to my van, got the book, put it on, stay with me. And he goes, if it wouldn't have been for that book, I don't know what I would have done. So anyway, I'm glad that Kelly could actually I wish him well in the rest of his run. So anyway, if you're watching out there, be safe on the road out there. So Thursday night, we're going to be at Love and War in Plano. It's open. It's in person if your kid's underway about 8 p.m. And if you can't make it in person, as always, you can watch the live stream on Facebook. As many of you know, we had to postpone our Valentine's Day show at Billy Bob's this year. Postponed on February 13th back at Billy Bob's next year. We're going to try to have the similar lineup. So we're looking forward to that. Right after we announced that we were going to have to postpone the show, I got a text message from Rebecca at Silver Saddle Saloon down in Granbury, and she was really disappointed that we weren't going to be able to buying a table and being there and supporting the show. And she said, "Hey Scott, would you mind if I hosted it that was similar to what you were doing, and we'll support the same cause and we'll support the same charity, and we'll try to have as many scheduled come down and play for us." And so, what are you going to say to that? But absolutely, PM in Granbury, Silver Saddle Saloon. So yeah, we're going to try to interview Rebecca and her to give us more information in regards to the show. So follow us here on Facebook and keep it best of what. Anyway, my name's Scott Brandon. I'm with Texas Music Network. This is live from the Ice House. Thank you for joining us.